Welcome to the Training with Results show on 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
This is Maurice Velasquez along with
John Shirk.
And we are with Team Real World. Thank you for joining us. It is a pleasure to have you with us. This is one of our first shows, and we are excited talking with you. Soon our phone lines will be open, and we'll be able to help you with anything regarding your corporate training, whether you're a manager or an executive, or you're a frontline person, or you're a middle manager. This is what this program is all about. We are Team Real World, and we are executive coaches. We're middle manager coaches, and we're team dynamics coaches. Everything we're dealing with personalities, time management, and how to help everyone become more efficient and work better together.
So, Maurice, talk to me a little bit about the foundational element of DiSC that we look at when we go into it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this whole DiSC personality thing. I mean,
tell me about it.
Well, you see, a lot of companies, they say stuff like, "Oh yeah, we did DiSC," and it goes nowhere.
Well, what is DiSC?
Well, DiSC is it's basically an acronym. You know, it's an acronym. It's DISC. All right. For those of you that are driving, don't worry about it. You're going to hear us say this so many times, you'll have it memorized by after the second show. It's DISC, and there's 4 basic personalities. And the 4 personalities you can almost probably guess by listening to us what personality I am. I'll tell you in just a minute, but I'm definitely one of the personalities. I'm the I. The happy-go-lucky, at least wants to think that he's happy-go-lucky. But if you see me, you hear me, I'm constantly talking. I'm talking with my body. You know, sometimes I'm called a Cajun, or I talk like an Italian. That would be considered an I, a high I personality. Now, those of you out there that are high I's, you're sitting there smiling, going, "Yeah, that's me." That's me. Of course, your spouses are sitting going, "Oh, yeah, that's him. He won't be quiet."
Mm-hmm. I'm a C, Maurice. And
can y'all tell he's a C? I mean, he's so quiet.
By definition, I'm unimpressed with your I-ness.
It's okay. You'll come to love me as much as I do.
I love details, Maurice. I love charts. I love spreadsheets. I am that guy.
You're the guy I fear.
That's right. I just ask me. I have the data.
Yeah. Well, I think in a large ways, I'm the personality you fear too.
Yeah, possibly.
No, why? Why?
Because you guys are so exhausting.
Yeah. Okay. We like to call it enthusiastic and engaged.
If you and I met each other at a cocktail party,
yeah,
you would slowly walk me backwards across the room until I jumped off a cliff.
I'm just trying to get you to talk to me, man. Just talk. I said hello. Don't stare at me, man. You know? Yeah. In a business meeting, I'm sitting there going, "So, what do you think?"
And I'll tell you.
Wait. This is what. Ready? So, what do you think? That's how it feels. That's how it feels. Like complete silence.
That's right.
That's right. It drives me crazy. Drives us crazy. The eyes go, "What are you talking about? What are you doing here? Why are you staring at me?"
There's a very interesting dynamic in this, Maurice, of extroverted and introverted people.
Yeah, but what's going on in your head when that happens?
What when someone is spilling all of the words like that?
Yeah.
Mostly, I'm just trying to catch up with something I want to say in return, and it just isn't coming out. Because I've got another question. And just as I'm about ready to speak to that one, I got 2 more questions. And just as I have another thought I got 3 more questions.
So you're saying I need to basically just not spill out so many words.
Maybe, or just
have a conversation.
Just restrain yourself a few seconds.
All right. Could I equally say to you, speed up a little bit? I mean, is there a win-win here?
That's fair.
Yeah. So if I know that you're a C, huh? You're the C of the DiSC. You're the C, right?
Yeah, that's
so
right.
that's the conscientious one, right? I'm the I. That would be the influential one. All right. So
right.
if I know that you're a C, then I guess when I approach your office or I go talk with you or with me, I have to take that into consideration, right?
That's exactly right.
So would you take in consideration that I'm an I? And I mean, what do we do? Or we just
if I have good people skills, I will.
All right. What does that mean?
Well, there's these 4 different personalities.
Right.
We've talked about 2 of them. There are 2 others.
The I and the
we
C.
all have kind of a first orientation. It's where our compass points either toward details, toward going fast,
Okay.
toward being calm,
Yeah.
toward
Yeah,
team,
so-
those different ways.
So some of us are more D, some of us are more I.
Right,
some
sort of
okay.
by nature.
Yeah, okay.
But whatever person you're with, if
Yeah.
you're willing to move into their zone and function the way they are used to functioning,
All right.
you are the leader.
All right,
at
so
that
so
moment.
what's the benefit of that? I mean, what are you saying? So if I reach out to you and I become more C-like, is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you reach out to me by becoming more I-like.
We're persuading each other at that point. We're influencing each other.
Is that this is where we get into the whole area of nonverbals, right?
True.
Negotiating, body language, facial expressions, the kind of stuff that really makes most of communication real, right?
Exactly.
It's not just what's written, it's how we do it, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, yeah.
Yeah. So if I want to really influence you, it doesn't really matter if it's sales or if we're just in the middle of a management meeting,
Right.
we're in a boardroom, or we're just
Yeah.
talking over coffee.
Yeah, that's true.
If I want to
That's true.
influence you, I'm not going to do it by saying you come to
Yeah.
me and the way I communicate. I'm going to influence you by saying I'm going to have
That's
to come
great.
to you.
Yeah, that's great. It still shocks me just whenever I'm interacting with a C, okay, with a very high conscientious person. I can now understand more the stare. Okay, what just totally shocks me is just the preciseness of the words that come out. You know,
That's
and I can tell that as I'm saying stuff, you're hanging on to every word that I'm saying, and I'm going, no. I'm being general right now, and then I come to realize I'm always being general because I always want to change my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Oh,
I think I's often use words like everything and all of this, and then those of us who are C's hear the word everything, and we say, "Did you really mean everything?"
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
Because
true.
there's this item over here, and it's part of everything, and I
That's
don't think
true.
you meant
That's
that.
true. All right, so the D's and those are the I's and the C's. Okay,
Right.
the D's and the S's. The D's are, of course, the dominant folks,
Should,
right?
should I be D with you?
Why
right now,
don't you be
Maurice?
D for me right now?
What are you doing right now, Maurice?
Well,
I want to know right now. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
but I'm on the
Hey,
radio. Yeah.
speak to me right now. What's
okay.
up?
Well, I got it. Got
Okay.
it. Okay, so a D is really dominant, whether it's by volume or I mean, y'all listen. When he was role playing here, I mean, his whole facial thing just changed. I
No.
mean, it was like his whole body language went into this kind of like Frankenstein mode. And it says like, "You tell me right now what you're doing."
Now, nobody has a boss who's like this, so I'm sure no one can identify with what you're
course.
saying right
Hey,
now.
as you're listening to this, the way that you should begin to think about it is, which one am I? Before you start, well, no, what you probably did is you started thinking about everybody in your office who's like, and you
Yeah.
can better understand.
Yeah.
Can you think of the ones who are high eyes, the folks that are very influential? Can you think of the ones in the meetings that are very C, who just sit there and not say much and they wait until the very end? And of course, D's, they dominate the whole thing, right? They're always just looking at their watch, and
Yeah.
making sure that that things move at their pace, and it's
Yeah.
normally last minute kind of thing, right?
That's right.
All right,
Last
so
minute,
as-
let's go. Let's act right now.
as you're listening to this, think about who in your workplace environment is what. And what's interesting, as you hear our radio show, and if you ever get to attend any of our workshops or you download any of our information on the website, what you'll notice is that we use DiSC a lot. It's the foundational of everything we do, because workplace is filled with people.
That's right.
And people are constantly interacting or battling each other. And it's normally at this level of personality.
That's right.
It's usually not an ethics thing at first. It's usually a personality thing that eventually evolves or erodes into an ethics thing. But most of the time, it's just personality conflict. Let's talk about the S's.
Okay.
All right. The S's are.
S's are very steady.
All right,
S's are very calm.
let's both move into S mode. Okay. So now we're all going to both we're now both going to be very S-like in our conversation.
Maurice, I'd like to know how you're doing today.
I'm doing well. How was your day?
My day's going okay.
Yeah.
It's been a calm, steady kind of day.
Yeah, good. I've been able to work on my tasks, and I have a couple of projects that I need to get done and completed. And I'm really looking forward to the weekend. What are you doing this weekend?
Well, we're going to spend time we're going to spend some time fishing. I think.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. We went last week with a couple of team members. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
That's right.
Okay, can we stop role playing,
please?
Because I'm about to just
Yeah,
see. I'm you know, it is, and we say we can't take it. For those of you that are S's out there, please, no offense.
Yeah.
It's just that we're not S's. So for those of you that are high D's that are you're needing to become a non-D, it kind of hurts. For those of you that are high I's, influentials, and you're needing to not be high I's, it hurts. Likewise here, so it was kind of hurting those, you know, because that's the behavior that we don't like. So anyway, that's what DiSC is all about. I hope you found it entertaining, engaging, and applicable. And listen, we're going to be applying this to many areas of life. How do you deal with this in communications, presentation skills, proposals, conflict management? It's great. It's a great program. Thank you for joining us. You have been listening to Training with Results on 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
Training with Results. You are listening to Training with Results with Team Real World on Talk 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
Thank you very much for joining us. In this segment, we are going to talk about what oftentimes we hear from our clients, we face ourselves, and that is the difficulty of meetings. Meetings are one of those things that people hate.
I don't know anybody who loves meetings.
Yeah. Oscar Wilde one time said that if he died in the middle of a business meeting, he would not tell the difference.
I believe that.
Yes.
I believe that.
And I mean, just think for a minute. Think for a minute the number of meetings that you attend. Think of the hours that you give to meetings every single week. Have you ever, for those of you listening, have you ever listed the number of hours and the amount of time that you spend in meetings in one given week? You know what? I would love for it to hear from you guys on examples of a bad meeting.
Oh yeah,
that would just be awesome.
Who you don't name names.
Yeah,
don't name names,
but not too much TMI. But
tell us about the annoying people in meetings.
It's like the commercials on television.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Those guys who
the light goes out so you can see the PowerPoint and it comes back on, and somebody brought their cat.
There's guys playing with little
My Little Ponies.
Click. It's not time to play.
That's right.
Or turn the lights off again. Everybody's
right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you guys have all. So yeah, hey, listen, if you want to call us at Team Real World, please do so. Our phone number is 225-772-4357, and tell our team members who answer the phone that you want to tell us a story about your bad experience or a sample of your meeting. We'll record it, and we'll see what we can do about playing it on here. I'd be really excited. But again, keep names anonymous.
I'm gonna suggest some things I bet people have experienced. Maurice, you tell me what you think.
Sure.
I'm gonna bet that there are listeners right now who go into a meeting.
Yeah.
And somebody comes in, maybe the boss,
yeah,
and throws the idea on the table. He or she has probably been thinking about it for a few weeks, but everybody in the room is just hearing it for the first time now.
Right.
And they're expecting the meeting to last 5 minutes, and we're going to get started.
Well, let's dissect this a little bit, because you said the boss walked in, okay? Mm-hmm. And they want to throw out an idea, which they've been thinking about.
That's right.
But, of course, they're going to catch everybody else by surprise, and, of course, they want it now, right?
That's right.
So is it really an idea?
Well,
really.
Not one that just hit them.
That's right. But they come in with the whole, hey, y'all, I want to do this. What do y'all think?
Exactly.
Right? Oftentimes they position it as I just thought about it, or I really think this is a great idea. And, of course, they put all the enthusiasm behind it.
And you know what they say then?
What?
What do you think?
What do you think?
Do you think they want to know what you think?
No.
I think they want to know whether you're going to just do it.
Those of you listening, okay, when this happens to you, okay, when somebody comes to you with a lot of enthusiasm, with a lot of body language about really wanting to get this, quote, idea past you, and they ask you, what do you think? Isn't it obvious that they're really not asking what you think? I mean, because even when you do tell them what you really think, what's the first thing they're going to do?
Let me think.
And they're gonna try to battle it down. Like, for example, if you ask me, hey man, what do you think about this? Yeah. And I tell you I don't like it.
Right.
You don't sit there and say, oh man, thanks for the feedback.
That's right.
You're gonna try to persuade me of why I'm wrong.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And so really, what you're looking for is not my feedback. What are you looking for?
Just Tell me it's a good idea, and you're going to do what I tell you.
I want you to take out that rubber stamp and do what?
Approved.
Did y'all hear that on the radio? Okay. I don't know if you guys heard. We both hit the desk real hard. Everything shook. Okay. Let's do that again. Ready? Is it? All right. There you go. Everything shook. Because that's what everybody. That's what that type of personality, that type of approach, and it's very common amongst leaders and managers because they're very used to making decisions and making them fast. So they walk into a meeting and say, "Hey, I have an idea. I want to run this by you." And of course, everybody at that point, either does the deer in the light head. Deer in
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
That often happens. And of course, instead of getting any sense of validation, the person that threw the idea out, it gets stared at, right? Mm-hmm. And immediately the body language starts in reverse mode. It's like, oh no. So it is clear within seconds that as soon as the idea went out, it was verbalized. Everybody went into defense mode.
That's right. And then those who are hearing, Maurice, that this brand new, fresh, great idea,
right?
What makes them have some pause about saying good idea to that?
How are we going to do this?
That's right.
When are we going to do this? Because I know what's happened in the past year before. Whenever ideas get thrown around like this, it's me and my team that ends up having to
doing the work.
I really need to know how, when, where, why, what's the procedure, what's the process. So I'm going to ask those questions, but I'm going to take a guess that the person who is all excited about the idea is going to interpret me as being negative.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's right. And that's the dynamic that all of a sudden falls into right in the middle, right smack in the middle of a meeting. It can happen at the beginning of the meeting, in the middle of the meeting. I love it. I love it when the team is about to make a decision on item A, and somebody right there at the end decides to say something like, "You know what we ought to do?" And then they shift the whole boat around a totally different direction. Everybody stares at,
that's right.
That's right.
What? Yes, that's right.
And then it's just so the whole dynamic of decision making as a team is a lost art.
So here's the meeting as it's playing out. We've all come into the room.
Yeah.
Somebody, maybe the boss, walks in and says, "I have an idea," which they've been thinking about for a while, but now everybody's hearing it the first time.
That's true. All right.
They throw this idea on the table as if it is the most brilliant thing that's ever been spoken by human lips. The people in the room who are going to have to actually do the work pause with wide eyes and say, yes, but how? And then there's a kind of conflict that starts forming there, an awkwardness, right?
Those of you listening, can you relate to this? Do you remember those meetings? Do you remember the feeling of what that's like when you're sitting there and you are a participant or an observant to this?
Oh, Maurice, no one listening can identify with this. No one has ever been in a meeting with their boss coming in knowing I'm going to have to do this.
This is like meeting 101. I mean, it's almost like from birth, somebody taught us how to do it wrongly, how to do it the wrong way, and we've all been programmed on how to do it this wrong way all the time. Every single meeting happens like this. All right, then of course. Then
there's going to be somebody who's kind of concerned about the conflict in the room, right?
Because you feel it. I mean, everybody feels the tension.
That's right.
The happy-go-lucky folks are the ones that are going to try to break that with some kind of something,
So here's what happens. Here's what happens. The meeting comes to an end. Yeah. There's not a clear resolution. And that person who's worried about the conflict, they go see the boss first. And they say, "Man, it seemed like there was some conflict in that room. Are you okay?" And the boss says, "I'm fine. I just want to get started." And they say, "You're exactly right." They leave that office and go to the person who is pushing back, and they say, "Are you okay? There was conflict." That person says, "Well, I just need to know. We can't get started until I know what to do." And that same person says, "You are exactly right."
No, so they're basically polling everybody.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, thankfully, I'm not one of those people. Thankfully, I never do that. Thankfully, I don't sit there and try to lobby the team and try to throw grass in the air and see where the wind is blowing. All right, then of course, what happens after that?
Well, then there's some frustration from that boss. So the next meeting happens. Yeah. That boss walks in the room and says, "Why hasn't anybody gotten started? We're going to do it now, right now."
Yeah, well, by that time, frustrations happen because no one's really moving this thing forward.
Yep.
The chains aren't moving down the field, so somebody's got to put their foot down, right? The dominant personality takes over, and then the happy-go-lucky person starts saying what?
They start being, okay, well, this is going to happen, so let's all just try to stay together and be happy and be a team.
And the folks that had the initial questions because they're concerned they're going to get it, meaning
That's
get the
right.
job, they're going to realize, okay,
They're going to
We-
hold their
we-
hands up and go, okay.
we might as well do it. So
That's right.
You know what the interesting thing, and we see it all the time, not only because, John, we wrestle with this even at Team Reward.
Oh,
okay. I mean,
always.
it's a human
Absolutely.
nature dynamics, and we have to
Absolutely.
learn not to do that
Yeah.
by using what we call the Z model. So,
No,
and if you guys listen here on the radio show, you'll learn real quickly what the Z model means, because we use the Z model to battle against, or better yet, to be a medicine to this problem of ongoing decision making. But anyway, the ironic thing is that I find it, even in our meetings, okay, but all of our clients attest to the same thing, that right there towards the end, there's usually one or two in the meeting who are about like saying, has anybody looked at the numbers on this yet?
that's right.
And then everybody realizes that accounting has finally spoken up, and it's too late to, because they were
That's right.
notified at the last minute.
Nobody ran the numbers.
Nobody ran the numbers, and then you basically call the accounting guys into the meeting on the last meeting when it's execution time.
That's right.
And then they hear for the first time, and they ask them, "Look, we need a budget for this tomorrow," and they're like, "What?"
That's right.
And it happens all the time, the time.
Right. And of course, at that point, it all goes back to square one.
So yeah, if you experience this in your workplace, just know that there is the cavalry is
Cavalry,
here.
yes.
The cavalry is here. Okay, there is a way to address these things. Okay, just start saying stuff like the Z model. Okay,
That's right.
Z model of
That's
decision
right.
making. We've talked about the DiSC style. Okay, and when you listen to our program, we're going to be showing you how to use some tools that will provide results. That's why we call our show Training with Results.
That's
so
right.
that's
Meetings don't have to look like
no,
this.
they don't have.
Really don't.
Can we take a little short break here and let you guys know that on our next segment we'll be talking about Excel. Okay, for those of you that need to run reports, and those of you that need to understand how to communicate data, take large amounts of data, and provide some extraordinarily easy, fascinating reports, tune in, because we're going to be talking about pivot tables.
Did you say data?
Oh, I know. All right, come on right back. You're listening to Training with Results on 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
Welcome back to Training with Results with John Shirk and
Maurice Velasquez.
from Team Real World, headquartered in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with clients in about 5, 6, 7 states right now.
Yeah, something like that.
We're very happy to be growing, and that's what's made us extremely exciting to be on a show, because we have a lot of our clients listening. They've given us a ton of ideas.
Can you believe people pay us for our advice?
And not only that, it is a pleasure to work for them.
Yeah.
It is
I
really
know.
because first of all, they really see the need to grow, develop their people.
That's right.
And if they develop the people, they usually are asking the tough questions. And the tough questions these questions include, does your stuff really work? Because they're usually tired.
That's right.
Tired of paying consultants after consultants after consultants, and they seem to just stay around for a long time with very little results.
Well, I think people have seen a lot of training where someone comes in, they're all excited, and they got some teddy bears under one arm and some cheerleader pom-poms, and they're going to tell everybody to sit in some bean bags and hold hands.
Remember, we had a recent client.
Yeah.
Basically, after the first hour break, he said, "Man, you guys got both bean
I-
bags and business."
Can I tell you my worst one of these ever?
Yeah,
This
sure,
is a 100%
sure.
true story right here. I'm in one of these sessions as a participant, not,
I
the trainer.
I hate going to these.
And when you're sitting there, if you're not familiar with these dynamics, when you're sitting there, the person who's training they're giving direction. You feel like you have to do what they're saying.
Yeah.
So she says it's important that we learn how to connect to each other in the workplace. So
Okay.
what I'd like to do is have you turn to the person next to you,
Oh.
sit close enough so that your knees touch their knees, look into their eyes while I play this song called "I'm Inside of You and You're Inside of Me." I promise you that was not only a true story, but possibly the most uncomfortable, awkward moment of my entire life.
Oh yeah. You we went to one. I was required to go to one. All day long, and we built a bicycle together.
A bicycle,
Yeah,
really?
there was no application. There was no in any way coaching.
No point.
No,
behind that.
it was quote teamwork, and we built the bicycle together.
That's right.
It was interesting to watch the individual team members almost kill each other. And what
Everybody came out with big bike treads across their face.
A lot of people mentioned afterwards that, I guess I found out one thing. I don't want to work with that person any better. At least
I don't want to build bikes with you. I don't want to do anything
work with you. Yeah. And so, when people come to our training, what is the number one thing they fear the most when they talk to us?
One of two ends. Either this is going to be so awkward or this is going to be so boring.
Exactly. But why? Because they're afraid it's going to be all beanbag,
right,
with no real business application.
Yep.
Or it's going to be so so much business application. It's going to be all words, reading books,
Maurice,
and just data.
I'm going to bet a lot of our listeners have been, especially to computer trainings, where there's a massive manual and it's just page after page after page, and they're gone within the first half hour.
Remember the story I told you of a friend of mine who had just gone to a training firm. I forgot where he was. He was out of town, and he said, "Yeah, man, I went to this training at Maurice. I was the only one there." And I thought, well, that's great, man. You got a lot out of it. They were able to, tailor the class for you. I mean, if you were the only one there. And he kind of looked at me like, no, that's why I'm telling you this. And I'm like, don't tell me. You know what happened?
What?
They worked page after page through the entire book.
Are you serious?
Never tailored anything.
They wouldn't even skip a section that was irrelevant for them.
No. So the difference with Team Real World is that we really believe that the investment that companies make in training, their biggest investment is the time that their people are at the training. Right. So we have to guarantee you that every hour counts.
That's right. The cost of training that gets paid to a trainer is minuscule,
right,
compared to the salary and what's not getting accomplished by that person.
That's right. So we have to make sure that it's very beanbag, but that beanbag actually leads to business solutions. And the key for us is focusing on tools, practical tools that provide results. And we usually tell our clients, and we ask you listeners, those of you that are be gracious enough to listen to the program, is when you hear some of these tools, do one of two things. Try them out, see if they work. Let us know if you find results. And second of all, if you don't, give us a holler. We'll give you some tips and tricks on how to use those, because the issue is, and the goal is, for you to have results. Okay, so let's talk about one of these powerful tools that are oftentimes overblown as to how difficult it is, and yet it's such a powerful tool. It's a tool in Excel. Right?
Oh, sure. Excel. We're talking about Microsoft Excel.
Microsoft Excel, because Team Real also does computer training, and we love work. As a matter of fact, we do, one of our workshops is not pivot tables. One of our 4-hour workshops is creating effective reports with pivot tables, and that's the thing. We basically focus on the results of what you're trying to do, not just the feature.
Yeah, that's a very significant point, Maurice. We really try not to just teach general knowledge.
Absolutely.
As though you've got to figure it out yourself.
So let's talk about this thing. Here's a scenario. Can I give you a scenario?
Sure.
Boss,
lay it on me.
Yeah, the middle manager basically says, "Hey, frontliner or colleague, look, we need to figure out who to mail." Or who to contact of these 13,000 records. We got about, I'm going to say, anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 people of whose cancellation policy date is, the policy cancellation date's coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We need to mine this data, pull this information out, and find out who those people are, when their cancellation are, and those that are 2 to 3 weeks away, we need to send them a letter and be able to identify by zip code these folks and be able to contact them. So if you give me a spreadsheet with a lot of data, what are the chances that spreadsheet is going to have all the data properly set up, John?
Oh, man. Unlikely.
Yeah. So you first have to go clean it up. All right. Look, this is a radio show, so there's no possible way for us to show you a screen. Here's 2 basic rules whenever you're mining the data, okay? No empty columns and no empty rows. Whenever you're cleaning your Excel data, okay, and you're trying to what's called normalize it, you're trying to clean it up, do not leave any empty rows and no empty columns for whatever reason. There's about 30 seemingly good reasons of why you'd want to do that, but if you're wanting to be able to get data mined out of that spreadsheet, just tell yourself, do not leave and do not go ahead and delete all your empty rows and all your empty columns.
Can I fill in just
Sure.
just conceptually there for those who have ever stood or stared at a spreadsheet on their computer?
Right.
Spreadsheet is that series of little boxes. They're called cells, and there's columns and rows that compose all those things.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that.
When we say a record, we're talking about those horizontal rows.
The rows.
And every one of those rows is a record, and then those columns, each one of those is some aspect of it. So it might be record number 1 going across the row, but across the top it might say last name,
That's
then
right. So
first name,
so
then
the
their
row,
address, then their wife's name, then their dog's name, then whatever else. But all those are pieces of information that enlighten that one record.
Perfect. So the rows are the records, right?
Correct.
So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to however long it's on the left-hand side, right?
Correct.
All right. Across the top, you have your columns. Those would be the A, B, C, D, right?
Exactly.
And they usually have a heading at the top.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's where you find your first name, last name, email, and
Exactly.
Policy cancellation, start
And that's
date.
why if there's, say, an empty blocks in there, then there's empty spaces in those
okay,
records.
good. Yeah, it's very good clarification.
Yep.
So what you're looking for is in order for you to be able to pull a report out of that, you have to make sure that you don't have empty rows or empty columns.
Correct.
Because once you try to tell Excel to go get the data, then it's gonna mess you up. So first thing, remove all the empty rows and empty columns, right?
Correct.
All right. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go up to we're going to assume that you're using Microsoft 2010.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you're going to go up there to the top bar. You're going to click on Insert Pivot Table.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very easy, powerful tool. Insert pivot table, and it's actually going to take a guess at the data you're looking at. And if you did not leave any empty rows and empty columns, I'm going to say about 99% of the time it is going to guess that it figured out what your data looks like or how it's structured because you removed all the empty rows and empty columns.
So, Maurice, you're saying it will select that data for you.
Exactly. It will select the data for you. So whenever you click Insert Pivot Tables, it's going to come up with a little pop-up screen that says, hey, this is the data. All right, so that would be the first step on doing that, on knowing how to do that, all right? And then I'm going to just tell you to hit the button Finish, all right? And then what we're going to need to do is ask you to go to our website, and we have a one-pager, okay?
Excellent.
Or call us at 225-772-4357, and we'll point you
know
on
what,
how
Maurice?
to,
You know what we should do?
Yeah.
First 10 people that call, you can come to this class for free.
Hey, let's do that. Ask about the pivot workshop, and then we'll show you. After that, it's about only 2 or 3 more clicks, and it's a fascinating tool. So the reason we want to do this is because if you have large amounts of data to mine, you don't want to sit there and look row by row and line by line. You can just tell it, hey, I want to go pull up this data, and it does it for you extremely fast. It'll cut your time down dramatically.
And your boss will be so impressed.
I know. And then it'll make those meetings extremely well. All right. Well, listen, you've been listening to Team Real World Training with Results with John Shirk and Maurice Velasquez here on 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
Welcome back to Training with Results with Team Real World. I am Maurice Velasquez.
I'm John Shirk.
And you are listening to 107.3 FM.
WBRP.
And welcome back to our show. The name of the show is Training with Results.
Okay, Maurice, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I hear the word team building come up a lot in training contexts. And can I just be honest with you?
Sure.
When I hear the word team building and the trainers are involved, I just roll my eyes.
Why?
Because it just sounds like a lot of kumbaya. Let's all get together and hug each other. Maybe we'll even dance around a fire together.
Stand on a table and fall backwards.
Oh, yeah. Don't we all love each other here at my company? This is all so very special.
I've never been to one like that, but
they all feel like that.
Yeah, so it is.
Yeah.
If
you're like me, it all feels like that.
Well, I don't know. I'm a high I. I'm a very in my DiSC personality, I'm influential.
Somebody starts walking around the room high-fiving everybody, and I'm there.
It doesn't impress me after. I usually find it an impressive thing when it's the beginning, because I find that training companies and folks that put these things together, they realize they have to capture the audience, and I really respect the fact that they infuse the room with a lot of oxygen, with a lot.
Here's what I do respect about that. we have one guy on our team.
Yeah.
And anytime we have one of these meetings, that guy is like he's like ADD or whatever.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
he
I know who you're
can't
talking
keep
about,
from like elbowing the guy next to him or creating a
Yeah.
paper football or
Oh,
doing
yeah.
something.
Right.
And it takes about 4 seconds for him to lose it.
And by the way, whenever, for those of you listening, if you ever see that behavior, we encourage you to be careful not to try to quelch that. Oftentimes, it is better for the doodlers to doodle.
Are you sure? Because I
Yeah.
kind of want to punch him in the face.
I know. And what's interesting, I've been in many meetings where somebody will tell that person, "Hey, pay attention," or "Hey, let me get everybody's attention."
I
Because,
resemble that remark.
yeah, because everybody's wanting the eye contact, which of course that's
Okay.
ideal. But
Sure.
the doodlers, the guys who need to play with their pens, and I mean, there's a degree of
Sure.
respect that you can sit
Sure.
there and tap,
Right.
because there's a line to cross. But generally speaking, if they're able to sustain quiet or not be disruptive, a lot of times those folks are really listening. They
Really?
the doodlers are really listening when they're doodling.
Okay.
Okay? You get them to require them to pay attention, and they have just toned out. Yeah. So what happens in workshops like that? I really respect the fact that whenever you start a workshop, there's a lot of energy. Because if it's a 4-hour workshop, man, it will not be long before that energy is just leaves the room. So you need to basically build it up early. You know? So I really
I respect that.
I really
that.
respect when an organization creates that. Okay.
I just know when I walk in the room, I'm thinking, God, I got so much work to do. Can we please just get on with it?
Think of it like what happens at the LSU football games. Okay. Before the game starts, we start singing, right? Go Fighting Tigers, all the way. I mean,
if you want to call it singing,
well, yeah, but
there's usually some beverages involved as well.
There you go.
okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
all right.
okay,
So
we can call it
it's
singing.
it's an attempt at extreme energy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what would happen if all of a sudden the team comes into a stadium and no one is singing? There's no energy. Would that somehow impact the psychology of the team?
Yeah, it would be eerie.
That's right.
Yeah.
So therefore, see what happens at LSU on Saturday nights at LSU. Okay, many times in the middle of a play, I mean, right before the play starts, the players play to the audience, and they ask them to cheer
and cheer.
Why?
Shout.
Because
That's
just the energy does something to us. So there is a proper place at every meeting. There's a proper place at every workshop for that level of energy to carry the ride.
Okay.
Because we're humans.
So then, Mark, is this team building then? Is that what that is?
It's part of it. It's part of it, because if all we are is cheerleading, but we're losing the game 62-0, then it won't be long before all those humans with human nature basically leave the stadium and they go party somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if there's all this enthusiasm, but yet no results, and there's no real business being done, then it won't be long before even the cheerleaders begin to go, give me a tea. Energy by itself, if it doesn't go anywhere, it just fills up the room, and people begin to notice that we're not going anywhere.
Right.
So
Okay.
So the workshops, in any kind of workshop, and meetings too, because workshops, meetings, they're similar. Workshops have to have a good balance of energy. But they have to have a purpose for that energy. In other words, if we're going to play a game, let's play a game that is going to have some real relevance or tie-in to the content that we're going to talk about in 12 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, and then have some kind of application that makes and helps the audience members go, oh, so when we played with the dominoes, I get it. So if we're not properly aligned, okay, it's like the dominoes. Yes. Okay. Got it. That's why we play dominoes. Okay. And then if you teach the team members that in order for your dominoes not to fall over the place, you leave a gap. Remember that you leave a gap if you know how to make sure that you line up your dominoes and don't fall. Then you can teach something from the gap whenever you're talking about time management. You got to have a weekly gap. You got to have a weekly stopping point to go, okay, if my dominoes fall, they fall only up to this point. And so your games have to have some type of, your energy have to have some type of relevance.
Right.
And this is where a lot of training teams and training departments, they struggle with this, but it's how to create that balance. one of our workshops, and one of the things that we help out a lot is on train the trainers.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so we train.
Trainers
we
have to be
train.
trained.
That's
Yeah.
right. Of course.
Yeah.
You know, coaches have to be coached. You know,
Yep.
so training the training departments is one of the key functions that we do, because training companies depend on training to produce results. And it's just, of course, as being trainers ourselves, we simply sympathize with the challenges of creating enough enthusiasm to keep the energy high. But man, how do you make this tremendously effective,
Right.
tremendously applicable? So, the balance is simple. It's hard to do, but it's quite simple. And it's for every hour and a half, you have to have a certain degree of balance between energy and business stuff.
Ah, okay.
If you just do an hour and a half and it's all data and it's all blah 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 blah, you're going to lose half your audience, because half your personalities have already checked out.
Right.
But if every hour and a half segment is all games, then you're going to lose the rest of the audience, and you're never going to get a good result. And then people are going to say, "Oh, how was the training?" It was good. You can usually tell. When you can tell that a training has taken place, the people good training has taken place, the people usually come out of there surprised that they learned and that they enjoyed the process.
Yeah.
So you guys ask, how was it? How was the training at Team Rurwell? I was kind of surprised. Why? Well, we covered a lot of great stuff. Did you have a good time? Yeah, I did. It was really good. And so you just got to create the balance. You got to have enough beanbagging to make it extremely engaging, and there's enough energy. Okay, but it's got to have enough results. And so for you trainers out there, or you managers that are needing to train your people, and you have them for a whole day or half a day, work in terms of 90-minute blocks. Give 15-minute breaks, okay? And you can basically fit 2 90-minute blocks in the morning, in the afternoon, and then you just got to plan your day around the routine of the energy.
And I'll throw in here, Maurice, that one of the unique things that our clients really tell us they appreciate is that we don't require all day to do a single training.
Oh, no. Actually, most of what we do, we actually don't.
Yeah, we actually do more 2 or 4 hour blocks.
Yeah. There's one exception. Whenever we need to introduce to a team a lot of concepts, and we know we're going to have an ongoing training, we'll do a 1 day or 2 day session.
Correct.
But by far that's not the case. Well, and here's the reason. Okay, adults don't learn well unless it is repeated in short segments afterwards. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We'll be talking more about, on our show about how to set up your training correctly, what to expect from your trainers. You should expect a lot from your trainers. Training should provide results.
Can I give you the voice of the CFO on this whole thing?
Yeah, the money guy.
I just want to encourage all of you who are in business, all of you who approve funds for training. There is one and only one reason to do training, and that is to take some money and turn it into more money. That's it.
Very well said.
If somebody needs a hug, hug them. Check with your HR manager first.
Of course.
If they need a pat on the back, pat them on the back.
Right.
If they need a raise, take care of business. But do not do training as a way of sort of
Feel good.
telling your
Just
people
feel
that
good.
you care about them.
Right.
If you want to do that, say, hey, people, I care about you. Training is about taking some money and turning it into more money and nothing else. And if you don't know how to measure that, call us and we'll show you how.
Stay tuned to this program. We will be showing you guys how to do this. Email us, call us, request topics, okay? Let us know what has resonated as being effective for you, or that it hits, that it's lands somewhere within your sphere of interest. Let us know, and we'll cover those items. And we look forward to working with you guys. Thank you very much for joining us today. It has been a pleasure being with you. You have been listening to Training with Results with Team Real World with John Shirk
And Maurice Velasquez
on 107.3 FM.
WBRP.